Well, Preecy, surely 3, Telford United 1. On paper, looks like a relatively comfortable win in the end, but it was far from that, wasn't it?
Yeah, a long way from that. I think I said on Tuesday nights, but sometimes better to be lucky and good. And you could probably say, we were lucky today to get 3 points, especially first half. I thought Telford were excellent first half. I'd seen it against Peterborough, I'd seen it against Spennymoor when they played those and won those games, and I knew it was difficult. We worked on it Thursday night, trying to be compact because they pass and move so well. But when they get out wide, so you defend in the middle of the pitch and you make it difficult to play through you. Then they'll go on the outside. So they've got many different, many ways of getting in. And first half we were hanging on, to be honest. Partly our own doing as well, because when we won the ball back, we knew that we could create opportunities going the other way, because they do, they're quite fluid in their shape, and sometimes you can catch them out of shape, and you can counter and find gaps. So first half we were a bit wasteful with the ball. We kept giving the ball back, and that just kept inviting them onto us even more. But they were great first half. You've got to hold your hands up sometimes and give the opposition credit. The credit that we get first half is that we hung in there. When we battled, we fought. Matty made some great saves. We put some great blocks in. We had obviously bits of luck, and we had a desire to try and stay in the game. Whether our quality was poor, but the desire that we did, that we showed to, keep competing, although things were going against us, epitomised the goal. Is that, Tom Kahn never stops running, never gives up on anything, and that goal was so important. Come out of nothing, and probably helped us, going into half time. We could regroup a little bit, and we were a lot better in the second half.
Coming into the game, obviously off 2 disappointing results, and then being behind so early on in this one, what does it say about, I suppose, the group, to be able to come from behind and then get back to winning ways again this afternoon?
Well, we were getting asked questions, no doubt more questions than we've been asked all season. For me, they're the best team we've played so far this season. They come and took the game to us, and we found it difficult to get a foothold in the game. But like I said, once we got a grip of the ball and were better on the ball and made a couple of passes, we did find opportunities, and we did create 1 or 2 opportunities in the first half. Craig was a constant threat, and we could have got a couple of goals ourselves, but they could have had 6 or 7 in the first half. Second half, was much better. We put them under a lot more pressure. We were better with the ball. Great quality in both the goals with our passing and running on and off the ball, and a desire to get on the end of things. Cal's getting on the end of that one. It parried off the keeper, and he's there to put that away. So it was, it looked a lot better second half. But overall, we've nicked a win. We've been unlucky in the last 2 games. We definitely got lucky today.
19 goals from 8 games. The goals spread around again this afternoon. Must give you a lot of encouragement from that.
Yeah, we look like scoring goals. We look like creating. Not so many from set pieces as we have done previously. A lot of goals now are coming from open play, which is positive for us. So yeah, look, we've had a threat. The last 2 games we've really worked the keeper. We started to work the keeper a lot more in the second half. He's had a few saves to make, so that's encouraging. And the desire to get blocks in, to defend 1v1, and then you've got a keeper who pulls off saves for you, and he's tidy. Although that. They're not unbelievable saves that Matty was making. He's so tidy, and that's the important thing. The shots from distance, he's getting down and he's keeping them, holding on to them. They're not bouncing off where, they might get a chance of a rebound. And that probably goes unnoticed. So that helps us a lot as well. So yeah, look, delighted to get 3 points. Look, it's been difficult over these 8 games. You know, we've lost Willow, we've not had Colm, we've lost George. You know, Ella and Harvey have had injuries. It's not been easy. It's been a tough run for us. So for us to get 16 points out of 8 games, you know, we're buzzing at the minute. You know, that's a fantastic return. And you know, now we have a little bit of a break. And you know, we can be proud of what we've achieved so far. We don't take anything for granted. Every win is so hard to get. So you know, we'll take this one. Yeah, we know that we got a little bit lucky. But we probably earned that little bit of luck from the previous 2 games.
You touched on it there. The squad, obviously, you really had to make use of all members of the squad so far in these 8 games, and I guess potentially an opportunity for a few more players to get minutes, maybe next weekend against Congleton in the FA Cup.
We'll like to get getting minutes and getting a fair amount of time on the pitch, even if they're coming on as subs and making a difference. You know, I've got good options off the bench again today. You know, Harry's come on straight away. You know, he's had a hand in the goal. Won a really brave header. That's created the second goal. So you know, Gavin Summers to come on and try, settle us down a little bit. You know, Billy always does a great job for us, you know, especially seeing games out. So you know, he is excellent. You know, and then you've got Walks who can come on and he can get us up the pitch like Craig does. You know, and you haven't mentioned lads like Milan and Birdie and George could have come on at centre half. And so, you know, we've got a decent bench at the minute, but we've needed that. And like you said, we've pretty much used the full squad, and we'll have to see how the lads come out of this game in preparation for Saturday's FA Cup game.
Just finally from me, a word for the supporters again this afternoon. A really good crowd, and they just continue to help us make this as much of a fortress as possible.
Yeah, look, that's a great crowd again, isn't it? You know, nearly 1,500. You know, we're a bit worried with the crowds being down a little bit in pre-season, just you know how they'd be, and look, they make the difference. We were. I think you give credit to Telford. I was going to say we were poor, but I think Telford were excellent, and give them credit. And the crowd stayed with us, and we started the second half well, and you can feel then the atmosphere change a little bit, and you know, they got behind us, and you know, they do make a difference. It's all cliche, and you know, the manager saying, you know, creeping around the crowd, but you know, it's true. You know, it does make a huge difference, and you know, it's great to see the smiling faces. I think they probably were a bit worried in the first half, but we managed to find a way through, which is great for us, and shows the character of the team.